right, Teague, we got a lot of news here. Some of it about camp, some A.J. Green, Mike Wallace, Des Bryant. Injuries, obviously, a big factor. Week 6 in the NFL. Who helps us sort through it all? Our guy, the man, Jason Canfora, CBS Sports NFL Insider. You see him on the NFL Today. You see him on Tops. He joins us every Sunday on CBS Sports Network there. You read him on CBSSports.com, all over Twitter. He's on the radio. Jay, what's happening, buddy? How are you?
What's going on, guys?
Oh, good. First of all, this story that I don't know that this is getting a ton of run, and I'm not quite sure, how sourced in you are with this because it's kind of late breaking. What is going on with Jordan Reed?
I mean, he's in the concussion protocol, so this is his 5th or 6th concussion. It's obviously has to be a concern. This was something that, I don't want to say complicated the contract situation because that makes light of a health issue, but certainly was a factor in how they structured and put together the contract extension that he received in the off season. And these are brain injuries, so this is not the first time he suffered this, and if or when he gets cleared, nobody knows. That there's a process that has to be adhered to, and we'll see. When he passes those baselines, and if or when he gets cleared by a third, the independent neurologist. So. Just like we talked about, Cam and Carson Palmer in recent weeks, this is obviously a little different given the number of concussions he suffered, known concussions he suffered, but the process is the same.
Jay, let me ask you this. Given the super sensitivity to player safety in the last, 3, 4, 5 years, obviously it's been amplified and rightfully so. And maybe this is a little bit naive on my part, but assuming that whether it's Jordan Reed or somebody else that has an extensive concussion history, and again, the reports are that this might be his 6th, right?
It's at least his 5th.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And some are, surmising it's number 6. Do we ever get to a point where for the player's safety, and again, this might be naive on my part because he's a great player, where teams start to say, we can't sign you, man?
Well, everyone has to make their own determinations. Wes Welker got another shot, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody thought that was coming. Everyone has sort of their own conscience, both from a medical standpoint and from a football standpoint and a strategic roster standpoint. And, it's a free market economy. So if he is able to be cleared, if your doctors can rightfully clear him, and you have a need at a certain position, whether it be wide receiver in the case of Welker or tight end here, in the case of Jordan Reed, I don't think that this is a situation where you could ever say after 3 concussions a guy can't play, because again, people's brains heal differently, and these guys, this is they've worked all their life for this, and this is how they feed their families, and this is how they set up, themselves and those around them for whatever sort of, post-career generational wealth they may be able to accrue. So it's an individual decision, it's a medical decision, and it's a business decision. And I don't know that there's, cut and dry numbers. Maybe at some point it's if you have X number of concussions within X number of weeks or months or years, then you can't be cleared to play for X period of time. But by the same token, even if those rules exist and someone's able to go out there and their baselines are normal and they have another doctor who could clear them and they really want to play, I just don't know. I don't know enough about – I'm not a brain doctor. I don't know that you could ever get to a point where you could have these sort of hard and fast delineations on cognitive recovery. I don't know.
Scary stuff. Jason Canfora with us here, JLC, NFL's CBS Sports NFL Insider here on Tiki and Tierney every Friday.
Hey, Jason, the other big story this weekend, or one of the big stories, is Colin Kaepernick getting a chance to start at Buffalo. What can we expect from him? Obviously, the health was something that kept being pointed out. Yeah. You can physically look at him and say he's smaller. He hasn't really had a ton of it. What do we expect here?
Look, this was a financial decision. There is no coincidence.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely starting when they finally have, crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's on a renegotiated contract, a process that's been going on for months. What can we expect? I think the first thing we can expect is that people will remember that Torrey Smith is actually on this football team, and they paid him a significant amount of money to come to that team as a free agent.
That's funny because I do
2 years
forget.
ago. Did you even know he played there anymore?
I do forget, actually, to be honest with you.
I think the yards per attempt will be above 5.1 or wherever Blaine Gabbert was last in the league. There'll be a big arm guy trying to make some big arm plays, and sometimes he will use his feet to buy more time for guys to just waggle free, and break from coverage. And there'll be a little bit of that street ball element. They have to have some infusion of just a dynamic element there. Whether he's, where some of these scrambles where Gabbert was getting 7 or 8 yards, maybe this guy gets 15. There has to be some semblance of a downfield attack. I don't think it's going to be, he's not going to be pulling any rabbits out of his hat. It's still a bad football team. And I'm not even so sure about the scheme anymore at this level. I mean, at times, everybody looking over at the sidelines, it looks like, the JV against the varsity. But I don't think there's anywhere to go but up, I mean, Blaine Gabbert was barely completing 58% of his passes, and he was throwing the ball on average, barely halfway to the first down marker. That's not NFL football.
No.
Right? I mean, that's just not. People aren't spending $200 a ticket to watch that.
That is true. I'm with you, Jay. We're on in Buffalo. Let's give the Bills a quick little pop here. Continue bouncing around. I'm not buying them, with all due respect. I respect how Rex has been able to hit the reset button and get this team, 3 straight wins here. The cards weren't right when I could give you reasons why I'm still not buying the Bills. Are you buying them?
I'm still a skeptic in terms of them being a viable team come January. I think in a year this watered down, I mean, and especially you look at the AFC. I mean, I think the NFC too. I mean, the whole league. It's like, who would you really stand on the table and pound your chest for? You know what I mean? Like, there's not many teams. So, are the Bills in the second tier? Are they in the third tier?
Third.
I think we'll find out a little more over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I will say this: they're the best running team in the league again, and that's what they were last year, and that's what kept them respectable, and kept the bottom from completely falling out. I think the defense is a little better this year. Certainly, the way the secondary's played. The last 3 or 4 weeks, really since they kind of got exposed by Fitzpatrick, they made some moves there. Guys are getting their hands on the ball more. The defensive backs look more aggressive, and that really should be the strength of the team. So, I mean, look, week 2, I would have said this team's going to struggle to win 4 games.
Yep.
Now, I'll say I think they could flirt with 500.
Yep.
I don't know that they'll be. Maybe they get to 9-7, and who knows? 9-7 with the right tiebreakers this year, guys, may get you into the dance as a wild card.
It's true. Listen, Bills fans, we're not trying to sell you short. You handle business, and I think we all think you'll win this game. You move to 4-2. No matter what we say, you're in the mix. So there you go, 4-2 in the middle of October is not a bad place to be. Tiki and Tierney show here on CBS Sports Radio. Jason La Canfora bouncing around the league. CBS Sports NFL Insider with us.
Jason, I got a quick question about Chicago before I move on to really an important game, Atlanta and Seattle. But Brian Hoyer, I mean, he's playing out of his mind the last three weeks.
Yeah.
How come they're so reluctant to make a statement about Jay Cutler? He's not the guy there.
Because Jay Cutler's not their starting quarterback. But, I mean, they don't really need to say it, right? I mean, you've got this thumb injury where Cutler thought he could play the following Sunday. I mean, he was begging to play the following Sunday because he saw what was in the cards, that, he was a divisive figure there, and that if he got kicked to the sidelines for a couple weeks and they were functional under Hoyer, he was in trouble. His problem is they've been more than functional under Hoyer. I don't know statistically that anybody's been better than Hoyer in the league those 3 weeks. So, no, they don't have to come out and say it because everybody in that locker room sees it for what it is. It's now Hoyer's job to lose, and if Hoyer keeps playing, anything close to this, it's a no-brainer. Even if he just, if he plays a level or two below this, but isn't turning the ball over a bunch and they're staying in games, they're not going back to Cutler. When the rubber hits the road here, guys, I think they have their bye in a couple of weeks. So at that point, maybe John Fox finally has to come out and declare, by the way, Hoyer is our starting quarterback. But again, it's his job to lose. It's been that way for about a week now, and he played his butt off against the Colts last week.
Yep, Atlanta, which has been the amazing offense so far this year, number 1 in scoring, number 1 in yards so far this year. They go on the road to play the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I guess this is the big test for them. Defensively, they've been bad, even though they improved a little bit last week against the Denver Broncos. They're the favorite now. They have to be in the South, correct?
They've won me over, at least insofar as they're the front runner to host a playoff game as a division winner there, and you can't knock what they've done. I know BT's not big on Seattle. I picked Seattle to go to the Super Bowl.
I'm starting to change.
Football team that people always nitpick. It's like people just don't want to. Like they have one bad week, and it's like,
now I'm coming around. They're better than I thought. I'll give it up a little bit.
Good, well-run, well-coached football team.
No, they are.
That haven't come close to hitting their stride yet, and they're coming off of a bye. We saw the surge they had in the second half last year when they came out of the bye. Remember, everybody was all over Russell because, how could he actually go on vacation with Sierra during a bye week? You're in Mexico.
Well, no, Jay. No, hold on, Jay. It wasn't that we had beef that he went on vacation with Sierra to Mexico. It was that we had beef and that he went on vacation with Sierra to and didn't have sex.
Yeah, and didn't do anything.
That was that was the issue.
You guys know more about that situation than I do.
Well, they were honest. They were open about it. That's the only thing we contested. How does that happen? How are you on the beach with Sierra and not have sex?
I can neither confirm nor deny that. But
look at this.
But I mean, people were like ready to turn on him, and they had that game against Arizona last year where he didn't play ball the first time around. And that press conference, I'm watching it, and I'm like, wow, like he's now the target there and not the Messiah. And then what did he do the second half of the year? He was the best quarterback in the league. So, look, if Atlanta wins this game, then now you're talking about a team that could be flirting with the first overall seed. But I need to see them do that.
Hey, Jay, we only have about 30 seconds, maybe a little more than that. But I want to throw three teams at you who are looking very vulnerable. And different expectations for all three coming into the season. Admittedly, just give us a quick assessment whether or not you think that they stabilize it. Not necessarily this weekend, but by the time it's all said and done. You ready?
Yep.
Bengals.
No.
I agree with you. I agree.
Regress to the norm.
I'm with
too
you.
Much brain talent and on-field talent.
I agree. Giants. 3 straight losses playing the Ravens at home this week.
I thought they were a 500 team that is going to have difficulty gelling on defense with 5 or 6 new starters coming from free agency.
Mm-hmm. What about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Boy, they better get Justin Houston back, and I continue to hear Week 9 at the earliest. I think the Chiefs are in a little bit of trouble.
I agree. All three of those. Jay, good spot, buddy. Always nice catching up.
Guys. My pleasure.